is Evelyn Angry-Smith, and I'm a reference instructional librarian here at MCC.
When did you first come to the college?
I started working here at the college in the summer of 1999, so it's almost 13 years.
What had you been doing prior to that point?
Prior to that point, I was working as a librarian, part-time for, I guess, 5 years before I started here. And prior to that, I was working full-time at Hartford Hospital, running a nursing and allied health library.
So what was your first impression of MCC? What do you remember first about it?
What do I remember first about it? I'm trying to remember that first impression. I thought it was a beautiful campus. The people that I met seemed to be really kind, really nice and friendly. I remember one of my colleagues taking me out for a tour of the campus, and I felt like it was probably a good place to work. I was looking forward to working there. Yeah.
And who were some of the people who were instrumental in your development here at the college?
Wow, there are a lot of people who are instrumental in my development, I suppose. I would say one person that really stood out for me would be my colleague, Paula Cook. She and I still work together. Paula just seemed to just take me under her wing and sort of was my mentor when I came, and just there was a connection, and she sort of showed me the ropes, and we developed a really strong friendship as well as a strong working relationship. So I would say she was a huge influence. Liston Filiaw was a really wonderful person. He and I got to know each other very well. There were people that I got to know through Metaphysical Book Club that Paul and I started that I think were really instrumental in just personal growth for myself and for them. It was, there are a lot of people I think that had some influence on growing me to where I am today, wherever that is.
Tell us about the book club.
Paul and I, as I said, got to be really good friends, and we found out that we had some interests in common. We were really interested in exploring some topics that we had questions about, answering the big questions in life. Why are we here? Who are we? Where do we go from here? That sort of thing. And I had worked in, as I said before, a health science library at Hartford Hospital. And so life and death was, sort of the norm there, and got to know the nurses and the nursing educators and researchers. And they were looking into death and dying at that point, and they were at the forefront of it. So we talked about things like that, and we were really interested, and we thought, well, there might be other people on campus who might be interested, and we just sort of, not thinking about how it might make ourselves look or anything, we just sort of put it out there in an email and invited people who were interested. And there were a core group of people on campus who were very much interested in those topics, and we read and researched and studied for many years, and really had an influence on people's personal lives.
Yeah. You also, one of the founding, I hate to say fathers, founding mother of the International Film.
Yes. Probably what I'm most proud of is the International Film Series, being co-creator and working with a wonderful person Bob Kagan, the department chair for communications and humanities. Yeah, it's been a wonderful partnership, and growing this particular series. That started out because I happen to love film, and we were developing the collection of film here at the library, and met up with a vendor who told us about these movies that we could subscribe to and we could get on a monthly basis. They're foreign films. And so thought, well, this would be a great thing to bring to everybody's attention. Maybe we can do something here at the college. And that's the nice thing about working here at MCC, that if you have an idea that meets the college's objectives and goals, you pretty much are given free rein to run with it. And I thought I had met, Bob, and knew that he was involved with teaching film study and thought he would be a wonderful partner to collaborate with. So I spoke with him, and that was over 6 years ago. And this film series has been going strong and just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Our attendance keeps getting larger and larger, and we've got some wonderful film, and we've got a great collection in the library as well as a result.
Now, you're also involved with students. Tell me or tell us about some of the work you do with students.
Well, the reference desk is part of the public services in a library, so you're right out there, on the front line, and trying to meet the needs of the students and your other user populations. So you get a chance to meet a lot of people. You don't know when you're talking to them, you're doing the reference interview, trying to pinpoint exactly what kind of information they need, what their background is, or what struggles or hardships that they've had to go through in order to get where they are today, standing in front of you, asking you a research question. But I've met a lot of really bright, determined, interesting students, from traditional, college-age students to the older adult learners. A lot of people who, had their sights set on getting to a certain place with their education and doing everything that they, need to do to make it happen. And then, you'll meet some people who haven't quite gotten the point, that they're the masters of their fate, and they should be doing whatever, they can do to reach their goals. So I've seen it all. I think serving on the scholarship committee has given me deeper understanding of, how really hard people are working to better their lives and the hardships that they've had to overcome. It's overwhelming sometimes to read their stories, to read their essays, to find out how hard life is, and just makes you want to be able to help them as much as you can, get them pointed in the right direction and get them to where they're going. So there's always stories that, you can tell about what's happened at the reference desk. You get some really interesting comments and questions.
That was my next question, actually. Can you recall any funny situations that involve you and work?
Sure. One that comes to mind, one that stays with me a lot, is a student came up to the desk. I'm not quite sure what the subject was, but they were looking for just some information. And I was explaining to them, I've got this source, I've got this book, I've got that book. And them stopping me and saying, how long is the book? And I'm like, well, I don't know. It's probably your average length book. And them saying, well, I don't want it to be too long because I don't want to have to think too much. And I was just a little startled by that. I thought that was pretty interesting. Trying to think if there's anything. noteworthy. I'm sure there is. I'll probably remember later on. I can't think of anything else right
Let's
now.
try this. Let's look to the future.
Okay.
Are there some areas that you want to become involved in, or what would you like to accomplish over the next few years?
With regards to the library and working
In
in the
regards to the
library?
library or any other work that you may be doing here at the college?
Well, with regards to the library, I think continuing to develop a relevant collection, whether it's, in the areas that I'm responsible for, building on, which is liberal arts. I happen to have my own special interest areas. I do love film, and I do love music, and over the years, both of those collections have really been built up, I think, to where I can honestly say we have, some of the best collections of film of any library in the state, if not the country. And I would like for us to be able to incorporate technology without being lost by it. We're looking at, e-books and that sort of thing, and using social media to get our messages across, just to be able to still be honest and true to ourselves as our role as a library without being taken over by all of those things, I guess, is something that I would like to keep an eye out on. And I think one of my interests would be to maybe develop some more educational video or different ways to bring information to students, because everybody learns in different ways. So,
Good. Well, those are all the questions that I had.
Okay.
Is there anything you'd like to add to the discussion?
Just a little personal story about the time that I started working here. My son was graduating from high school, so it was very, synergistic. And he had had a really hard time in high school. He, a hard time fitting in or knowing who he was. And so it had been, a rough few years for him. And so we thought it would be excellent, since I was working here, to have him come and, at least take some classes. And so he started taking classes here and met other students that he had things in common with, and he met faculty who were very supportive of him. And I can honestly say he had his first positive educational experience since maybe grade school, and I will always be grateful for that. If I didn't get anything else out of, other than what you would expect, getting a paycheck and stuff, I think that was probably one of the biggest gifts I've gotten from Manchester Community College, was to get my son on the road to success. And he went on and graduated from University of Hartford with a magna cum laude. So I'm very, very happy about that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.